WESH 2 News starts now.
Now at 7, new developments regarding a system close to Florida. Invest 94L has been upgraded to a potential tropical cyclone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Michelle Imparato.
I'm Jesse Pagan. That storm may impact parts of Florida's coastline. Let's get right to First Warning Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi. Tony.
Yeah, it's looking more and more like that is going to be the case, Jesse. Let me show you the latest cone as of the 5 o'clock advisory. A large mass of showers and thunderstorms is getting better organized, likely to become now Tropical Storm Imelda as we get you on into the weekend. And as it goes by just to our east here on Monday, what will then happen is that this will become a hurricane. So let's check in on the status of our system. You can see a little bit of outflow up above the storm system, a sign that this area of low pressure is indeed starting to organize. To the east of that, there's Umberto. Model tracks and trends today have nudged maybe just a little bit to the east this afternoon in comparison to the early morning runs. Nothing major, nothing that's going to be a problem for us down the road. But with that storm getting larger as it moves northward, there is going to be some wind and some rain along our coast. I want to show you a futurecast now. Here's the update on this. And this as well today is just a little bit to the east of the previous run. Not by much, but it's trends that we look for. There's your center of circulation, almost a tropical storm, becoming a tropical storm Sunday, and then potentially a hurricane as it's due east of Daytona Beach with some of those bands scraping the eastern side of Central Florida's coastline and stirring up the state of the seas. The European computer model has the core of the strongest winds well east of Central Florida, with maybe some of it trying to work back towards Palm Coast and northern portions of Flagler County there. And it kind of does a little bit of a loop-de-loop around Umberto at the same time. So we have dueling storms with dueling wind chances. The chances for tropical storm force winds here along the coast peak at about 15%. I'll talk more about that, guys, straight ahead.
All right, Tony. Now, while flooding is not expected in our area, Port Orange has actually opened up a sandbag site on Bruner Road off Clyde Morris Boulevard. It's open tomorrow from 10 to 2. There's a limit of 10 sandbags, and you have to be a resident. And of course, it's important to stay up to date during hurricane season because things like this can happen. And you can do that by simply downloading the free WESH 2 News app. You'll also find the survival guide for hurricane season there, also on WESH.com. A developing story out of Sumter County now. State Attorney Bill Gladson and other state officials announced the shutdown of a $24 million major illegal gambling operation. The gambling operation, they say, targeted seniors and laundered millions of dollars through fraudulent business activities. Officials say the investigation started last February after multiple complaints against Il Villaggio Senior Entertainment Center in Lady Lake. Detectives say the people had slot-style machines in there and unlicensed games of skill. Officers seized 190 slot machines and nearly $350,000 in cash during a raid in July. A second search at a warehouse uncovered more machines. 3 people were arrested and now face RICO charges. In Central Florida, state and federal agents are cracking down on undocumented immigrants. Hundreds have been detained this week in Central Florida.
Agents arrested 150 people in Brevard County alone, and WESH 2's Pamela Combe shows us what officials revealed about the operation.
They say this operation was designed to detain undocumented immigrants showing up at work sites and places where they knew they would be. Just in Brevard County, 150 people were taken into custody. The immigration crackdown continues. From Palm Bay to Titusville, law enforcement has been out in force this week. At one construction site in Rockledge on Thursday, we saw arrests happening. Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins says it was all part of a larger operation in Central Florida.
354 people who are illegal in our state have been found and will be deported out of our country, back to where they came from. 354. That is significant over 4 days.
Brevard County Sheriff Wayne Ivey says 150 of those arrests happened right here in Brevard through traffic stops, worksite checks, and other locations identified by law enforcement. When asked about Thursday's raids and the people who hired the undocumented workers, Ivey said,
I can tell you that we will be looking at the tentacles that reach that, because those that are hiring them illegally and employing them illegally have to answer for that as well. So our teams will be continuing to look at that as we go.
The detainees will be processed and sent to Alligator Alcatraz or other federal facilities before being deported. Across the state, troopers are working closely with ICE, Border Patrol, and local sheriffs to check immigration status during roadside stops.
So we have done that at the Florida Highway Patrol. I believe we're the only state law enforcement agency or otherwise to have full-time troopers dedicated to immigration enforcement 24/7, in addition to the nearly 2,000 state troopers that have been deputized by ICE as delegated immigration officers.
And Collins says FHP is also requiring commercial truck drivers to read road signs.
So drivers who cannot meet the required English language standards are now being placed out of service immediately on this spot. We will not have more people's lives taken because they cannot read the road signs. They do not.
And Sheriff Ivey says Operation One Way Ticket is still ongoing. More people are expected to be detained. Covering Brevard County, Pamela Combe, WESH 2 News.
We did some digging on the latest immigration numbers in Florida, and here's what we found. Deportation Data Project's reports that nearly 11,000 immigration arrests have been made across the state, and that averages to about 40 arrests per day. Stay with WESH 2 for continuing coverage of the immigration overhaul underway right now in Florida. You'll find the latest news online, on air, and in our app. We are now hearing the call for help after deputies say a masked man robbed the Paddlefish restaurant at Disney Springs nearly 2 weeks ago. Listen to this.
Can you describe the person who took the items?
We have no idea. He was fully masked.
Okay, did he have a weapon with him?
Some sort of spray, and he put trash bags over us and shoved us to the ground.
So those workers, we're told, were not hurt. Investigators say the suspect concealed his identity as he took money from the safe. And look at this. Surveillance pictures show him spraying the camera to try to block the camera's view. At this point, investigators have not identified any suspects.
A Marion County teen is found safe and sound after a now canceled statewide Amber Alert went out last night. According to the Marion County Sheriff's Office, the false report of a kidnapping came from the 17-year-old boy himself in a text message he sent his mom. A statewide Amber Alert was issued last night, prompted an extensive law enforcement search overnight into the morning, and it also led to tips from witnesses. And today, during a news conference where the department was updating reporters on the case, this happened.
So update now, this just coming in. We are with him right now, and he is in good health, and we are furthering the investigation as we speak.
Deputies say they found the missing teen today in Williston. The sheriff's department says a 17-year-old could face charges. A judge is now weighing the evidence and explosive testimony in the case involving local Republican Congressman Corey Mills.
His ex-girlfriend claims revenge porn was involved and threats against her and her loved ones by the politician. WESH 2's Greg Fox reports she is seeking a court order to keep Mills away.
Not to harm.
Republican Congressman Corey Mills repeatedly denied under oath that he sent text and Instagram messages threatening to harm his former girlfriend, Lindsay Langston, or the men she might date in the future following the couple's breakup. One of the messages read, "I'm sorry to see this is how you treat things. Good luck to you. Thanks again for the videos." Another says, "Okay, get me his number and I can send him videos. Take care." Langston believed that to mean sexually explicit videos. But Mills says those messages were sent to the reigning Miss United States and GOP state committee woman to let her know that he believed she was cheating on him and that he would send non-sexual videos of them or her inside his home, not revenge porn.
To no point was there ever any reference and or intent to have anything which was salacious as being assumed.
I just wanted it to resolve.
When Langston took the stand, she painted a picture of a vengeful ex-boyfriend willing to hurt her and anyone else she loves to get her back.
And say, I need help. It's not getting better. I've asked him to stop. I've asked him to stop. Please leave me alone. Please, 11 times.
Langston said she broke up with Congressman Mills back in February after she learned through media reports that he had been charged by D.C. police with assaulting his girlfriend there. That charge has since been dropped. In the final question for Mills, who serves all of Seminole and South Volusia County, Langston's attorney asked if he thought ethics was important for someone serving in Congress, to which he said yes. I caught up with the congressman outside.
Do you believe you act ethically?
to the best of my ability. None of us are perfect. That's why our Lord and Savior sacrificed for the forgiveness of our sins. We do our best but we're human. We make mistakes.
The judge adjourned and set a deadline of October 2nd for the attorneys to recommend a judgment. In Columbia County, Greg Fox, WESH 2 News.
Mills is also facing a congressional House ethics investigation into his financial disclosures. A man who died after riding a roller coaster at Epic Universe last week was laid to rest today. Friends, family, and loved ones in Kissimmee remembered Kevin Rodriguez Zavala. He had a love for Star Wars, which was on full display today. We're told that he was wearing a Star Wars hat and holding a lightsaber during his open casket ceremony. Attorney Natalie Jackson with the Office of Ben Crump is representing his family, and she spoke with WESH 2 today outside of his memorial service about Kevin's love for helping others.
Kevin had a nonprofit where he helped disabled people get jobs, and many of the jobs were at these amusement parks.
The 32-year-old was found unresponsive on September 17th after riding the Stardust Racers roller coaster at Epic Universe. Attorneys for the family say the next step is scheduling a time for their inspectors to inspect the ride. They say Universal has been very cooperative.
Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer says State Attorney Monique Worrell, the chief prosecutor of Orange and Osceola counties, is failing to properly do her job. Uthmeyer pointed to two specific cases he says have not been properly handled by Worrell's office. One involves a man accused of exposing himself at a park in front of children. He also brought up a case where a 61-year-old man was accused of committing a sexual act on a park bench while facing kids at a public splash pad in Apopka.
We're calling on her, this creep at the splash pad. We better have charges brought again. If not, we'll be working with the governor's office to reassign this case to another circuit where we will ensure that justice is served.
Worrell was getting ready for a news conference of her own today, and she fired back at the claims, sharing notes from the attorney on the splash pad case.
I'm not standing before you today telling you that what happened in that park was wrong. But I am standing before you today telling you that I trust the word of the attorney who was assigned to this case when he said, although those actions were wrong, he could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they were illegal.
Worrell says instead of working with her office to address crime, the AG's conferences spread misinformation and prioritize politics over public safety.
I'm proud to be Mexican, but there's no buts. I'm just proud to be Mexican.
One local group working to promote pride in their culture despite the challenges. Tony.
And right now we are watching some heavy rain right here in Daytona Beach. You can't even see the city beautiful up there because it's coming down so hard. I'll let you know how long this rain's sticking around on your Friday night. Straight ahead.
Another hurt manatee has been taken to SeaWorld for rehab. Manatee rescue officials shared a picture of a 10-foot manatee rescued near Palm Beach. They say the animal was hurt by a boat, and they remind boaters to keep an eye out for manatees when on the water. All right, detainments and deportations continue across the United States, including in Brevard County, where 150 immigrants were detained just this week.
It means we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month during a time like no other, with the community at the center of the immigration overhaul. WESH 2's Nancy Alvarez found one group working to promote pride in their culture despite the challenges.
If you really want to do something and we never have done it, please put it there.
This youth group at the Hope Community Center in Apopka is called Sin Fronteras, or Without Borders, a title that reflects the journey of almost everyone here.
My dad came from Mexico.
Miguel Torres is helping lead a video project called Echoes of Migration.
All of us here have the same issue of being marginalized by a group of small people.
Collecting and sharing immigration stories in a community where you don't have to look far to find them.
I was basically born in Honduras, but I moved to Mexico when I was just 3 months old.
Diego Hernandez and his sister have only been in the U.S. 3 years. They have legal status and are staying with their grandmother. Their parents stayed behind in Mexico. The siblings are part of Miguel's team.
It really feels like it's where I'm supposed to be. I feel like I'm making a real change in my community, and I'm so proud of representing them.
That pride is exactly what Jose Luis Mirante is working to cultivate.
We've never been in a time like this.
His role at Hope, to empower teenagers watching detainments and deportations and the often hurtful rhetoric surrounding it all.
I see them finding a way to channel kind of a set of unprocessed emotions, fears, concerns.
A positive outlook allowing young people to showcase their culture, capture this moment in its history, and most importantly, display their pride.
I'm proud to be Mexican, but there's no buts. I'm just proud to be Mexican. And with everything that's happening, I fight for change.
We're reminding them of this inherent right that they have. And we are working hard to protect that right and to make sure that this country doesn't become a place where young people like them have to second guess whether they're free to be themselves.
Nancy Alvarez, WESH 2 News.
Now, Echoes of Migration is just getting started, they say. As they grow their content, you can follow them on Instagram and TikTok. We've put links to their pages under this story on WESH.com.
All right, let's talk the tropics once again, Tony. You know, throughout hurricane season, we always watch people whenever a little system pops up. You got to keep watching. You got to keep watching because anything can happen at any time. Today we got a cone.
Yeah, we did, you know, and this is going to become a tropical storm, if not even maybe even a hurricane, barely, but a hurricane's a hurricane. And we got to watch that when it's 200-300 miles off our east coast. It's going to bring some impacts. I'm going to break those down for you here in a second. Let me take you back outside. For those of you just getting back in from a late day at work on a Friday, hopefully not, there's your brand new potential tropical cyclone 9 cone. And you can see it's a safe distance offshore. But there's some wiggle room for a left or right turn, as there's a little bit of a deviation in some of those computer models down the road. And that's something we're going to be watching here for you guys over the next couple days. We just had a big time rainstorm come right through Daytona Beach, and it's cooled the temperatures from the mid 80s into the mid 70s up and down I-95 from Palm Coast on into New Smyrna Beach. Still running about 84, 85 here in town. Football games west of I-4 are in good shape. Still a bit of a concern here. Not so much in Flagler County, but look at Volusia County, Daytona Beach, New Smyrna Beach. We're watching you. Oak Hill, you've got some thunderstorms off towards your west. Scottsmore, Mims, Titusville. Look at this line of storms developing southward. We're going to watch that there for you as it builds off towards the east. And then we've got some spotty showers here through rural Osceola County that will bend back towards Palm Bay and Melbourne a little bit later on. Let's take a look now at the next 12 hours here. You can see rain chances diminishing from west to east, but we're going to do it all over again tomorrow. There's Saturday. You can see that line of showers and storms blasting through fairly quickly with some gusts maybe 20 to 30 miles an hour in some of those heavier storms. Then on Sunday, you see this moisture here. That is going to be in association with what is probably at this point going to be Tropical Storm Imelda. It's taking its time, but coming up from the south. You can see the winds now sustained on Sunday of 10 to 20 miles an hour, with the gusts, though, approaching 35 to 40 as we go into Monday late afternoon and evening. I'll go ahead and stop the clock here right around 12, 1, 2 o'clock, and you can see some bands coming ashore, scraping the coast with 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, and with it will come some pretty heavy rain from time to time in some of those bands. So Saturday, Sunday, a lot of heat, a lot of showers, some fast-moving storms, but the main entree will arrive Sunday night on into Monday as whatever develops goes by to our east. Low 90s in the metro areas, middle upper 80s up to the north. As you can see, very large cloud mass now with developing potential tropical cyclone 9. Again, forecast to become a tropical storm over the weekend and a hurricane on Monday. And you can see the models in good agreement. Coming through Nassau and the Bahamas, basically due east of us right around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then heading up towards the Carolinas. Notice that spread. That's why on that cone, there was kind of a big oval. There's a little bit of wiggle room there, depending upon which way this goes. I do want to show you the latest consensus run. The yellow, it's the most recent run of all the models, has inched back a little bit towards the east. So some good news there. Last but not least, with two storms out there, we are going to have to watch the surf, the coastal beach erosion during times of high tide as we get you into Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday. 1 to 2 inches of rain. 10 to 14 foot seas. Near shore breaking waves could be 6 to 8 feet. Obviously, that's going to bring some dangerous rip currents and some surf. 7-day forecast now. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, temperatures dropping back into the upper 80s. Less humidity behind that storm as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday.
True crime fans, this one's for you. Dateline is back tonight for season 34, and the premiere happens to be its 3,000th episode.
Our Nancy Alvarez recently chatted with everyone's favorite host, Keith Morrison, about this milestone and why Dateline resonates with so many people.
Probably it's because these very personal stories can happen to anybody, anywhere. You know, in a small town, a big city, it doesn't really matter. The kinds of stories we do are not the we don't deal in a lot of violent crime that people worry about in cities. We deal about very personal violent crime that usually occurs among friends or within families, or the kinds of things that can happen to anybody. And so I think our viewers are interested in some maybe even unconscious way. They need to know what's out there. They need to know what the possibilities are. They need to know what people are capable of, even people they know or people who love them.
And let's be real, no one tells a story like Keith Morrison. The all-new season of Dateline kicks off with an episode called The Phantom. It starts tonight at 9 o'clock right here on WESH 2. And of course, don't watch alone. All right, scientists and really most everybody has wondered, what is the secret to a long life?
Shortly before her death in 2024, Maria Brañas Morera became the world's oldest living person. The U.S.-born Spanish woman lived to the age of 117 years and 168 days. Researchers used blood and other samples and examined her genome. Overall, the research team credited her longevity equally to a healthy lifestyle and very good genetics. She liked to work, lived in the country, did moderate exercise, and never drank alcohol or smoked.
Never. Wow. Okay, there it is. Okay, her diet included olive oil and Mediterranean-style food. She also ate 3 servings of yogurt a day. Researchers think that habit alone may have kept her gut microbiome resembling that of a much younger person.
Interesting. All right, tonight at 11, we'll have the newest model data for the potential tropical cyclone expected to sweep by our coast.
Summer Knowles is in studio with what else we're working on.
Hey guys, Amanda Wren passed Orlando police working an investigation with a pair of scissors, and ultimately it cost him.
Hey, drop the knife!
For the first time, we are now hearing from that man's father, who says his son did not deserve to die like that. We'll see you tonight on WESH News 11.